it's Jahara. Welcome back to my channel. So I'm going to be talking about my favorite live action ships. So animated ships are not in this video. Neither is non-canon ships because I have my own video for that. So these are just canon ships that I absolutely love that are live action. So let's jump into it because there's quite a few, I think. So there's Jake and Amy from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which is one of my favorites, they are, I think, the healthiest, best relationship I've ever seen in media. They love each other not just because, like some people say that I love you despite your flaws, I love you despite your quirks, but not them. They love each other's quirks. One of my favorite things was when they were engaged and they were going through their wedding stuff, and he doesn't like crossword puzzles. She's obsessed with them. So he ends up getting a organizing all the flowers to be in crossword puzzles, and then she doesn't like that hard, but he's obsessed with it. So he ends up having the Nakatomi Plaza as their cake for him. And I just think that's so adorable. And there's so many moments that show just why they have to be the healthiest relationship in history. The way they love each other so much. There's so many times, or like on their wedding day, and Amy walks in like she's in a robe and her hair curlers and stuff because she's not ready yet. And he's like, Ames, you look great, but when are you gonna put on your makeup? And she's like, she doesn't even need to put on. I don't remember how he phrased it, but it was just so sweet. And the amount of times he's always like, oh, and you look great, by the way, as they're about to charge in and arrest somebody or something. And they're just so cute, so healthy, and they love each other so much. And the way he gave up being a cop to be a husband and a father, because now all he cared about was raising their son, and she was about to get a promotion that she has worked so hard for that was going to reshape what it means to be a police officer. And he wanted her to be able to do that, and he wanted to be able to be with their son, and I just think that's the most adorable thing ever. Or the fact that she actually let him name their son McLean. He named him Mac, but it was supposed to be for McLean. I'm like, wow, you must love this guy, because why? But yeah. And I don't care what anyone says, they have to be the healthiest ship in history, and I can go on and on about them. And Brooklyn Nine-Nine, I've never had a comedy as my comfort show. Don't get me wrong, I watch comedies. I like a good comedy, but I would never really consider a comedy one of my favorite shows. But this show, oh my gosh, I'm obsessed with it. And I can watch it over and over again. It has become one of my comfort shows ever since I actually only first watched it a couple years ago for the first time. And I just became obsessed with it. I don't even know why I turned it on. I was tired of all the other shows. I was like, I wanted something new, something I've never seen. And then I've heard things about it. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna turn it on. I didn't think it was gonna be like I didn't think it was gonna be bad, but I didn't think it was gonna be like this amazing thing. But it turned out to be, and I'm obsessed with Jake and Amy. So, um, now one of my absolute favorite ships is Simone and Amber from Soy Luna. I'm obsessed with them, and they first of all, this is a Disney ship, but they have the most chemistry of any other ship in the world. I will die on that. But and sometimes some of their scenes, you gotta think to yourself, is this Disney? Like, obviously, it never gets anything too, sexy or anything, so it is Disney. But there are some scenes where I'm looking at them like, this can't be a Disney show. But Simone is my favorite character, and Simone and Amber, I absolutely love their relationship. And I mentioned this in one of my previous videos, but apparently I love a ship dynamic where one of them thinks they're horrible, the other person thinks they're amazing, and they have that dynamic. Amber thinks of herself pretty badly because of everything she's been through, because she doesn't get shown that much love from her grandmother, everything. But Simone, he starts getting close to her, and there's this one scene that I always think of, that two scenes actually that I always think of that I absolutely love from season 2 when they two of them start getting close. There's one where Amber was having a really bad day. She was having a bad time because she is going through it in season 2, okay? And Simone calls her. It's getting pretty late, and she's surprised to see his call, so she answers, and she's like, Simone, hello, what's going on? Why are you calling me this late? And he's just like, I just wanted to check up on you. I know you seemed down earlier, and I just wanted to make sure you were all right. And nobody had ever done that for her ever, and it showed how much he cared for her. And there's this other scene. It would have been probably around the same time, mid season 2, I'd say. And she has this thing. It's kind of a running joke where when she tries to order a drink, whether it's at I can't remember the Jam and Roller. That's what it's called. It's been a minute since I watched the show, actually, even though I love the show. And or it's with her cook at her house. She'll say, "I want this drink." Then she's like, "No, no, no! Actually, make it this. Actually, make it this." And she'll do that like 5 times. Okay. So when Simone came over, and cause he's works at Jam and Roller at the restaurant portion, and he's like, "I have your order," and she's like, "I haven't ordered anything." He was like, "Yeah, I know, but I also know that you're going to change your order 5 different times, so I brought you this." And Amber's face, she just starts smiling and laughing and looking at him like he's the silliest person ever. And I think that's what she did. She could be very serious and very mean, but Simone is very silly and very. He's the kindest person you will ever meet. Okay, he is so sweet and down to earth, and I think that's what Amber needed. And so I think he gave her that. And them in season 3 too, like they had the angsty thing in season 3. And I also love the idea of like how she hurt him, so he um broke things off with her, and then finally admitting that she loved him when it was already too late and she had already hurt him and he was already over it. I love that, the idea of that, like as a trope, like character A hurts character B just as character A realizes they love character B. It's like poor timing there. But and you can see them wrestling with their feelings a lot in season 3, and the jealousy on both ends. I know Simone gets jealous of Amber and Benicio several times when they're dating, or Simone getting jealous of Amber getting jealous of Simone when he's getting close to Emma. And I love the Day of the Dead. Like that entire story arc is one of my favorites. The fact that she's starting to become a better person at this point because she realized that she loves Simone and she isn't going to be able to hide it anymore. And she also realized that this isn't who she wants to be anymore. She found a job she loves, being the manager of the Jam and Roller, and she realized that hurting other people doesn't actually make her happy. It was just a way to push down her own feelings, but she was kind of letting her feelings out more because of Simone. And one of my favorite scenes is when she goes into the garage where Simone is living and talks to him, and he starts telling her how much he's missing home because he's from Mexico. They live in Buenos Aires, and especially right now because he sees on social media that all of his friends are posting about Day of the Dead. She has never heard of that holiday, so he starts telling her about the holiday, things he loves about it, things he loves about his home, and what he misses most. And she just listens so intently, so full of love, and it's so beautiful to witness. And then she decides to create this whole Day of the Dead party for him. It's just so adorable. Like she went through so much trouble getting all this ready just for him. Of course, Benicio has to ruin it, but that's besides the point. And them getting together was one of the most beautiful scenes I've ever seen in my life. Like he makes a whole bunch of white roses down the stairwell as she walks down, and they meet, and it was beautiful. And for anyone who cares, I'm an author, and my the idea of white roses, I actually came up with it for 2 reasons. One of them was because of this scene. Okay. Um. So there's also Robbie and Tori from Cobra Kai. I absolutely love their relationship, and they have such good chemistry, and I think they have such a good dynamic, better than Sam and Miguel and I'll die on that hill. I absolutely love their relationship. They were actually pretty healthy. Yeah, they kind of go down a little bit in season 6 because Tori's going through a lot, and then she joins Cobra Kai, and but they both had been hurt, and they were able to heal something inside of each other, which is just so beautiful. And they, because of that, they stopped hurting. They stopped being so angry because they're both so angry at the world and the cards they were given. also Gina and Ricky from High School Musical, the musical, the series. I know this is a controversial one because it's always like, do you ship Ricky with Gina or Nini? Do you ship Gina with Ricky or EJ? I ship Gina and Ricky, and I think there was always something between them. I mean, from the very beginning, when Ricky started playing and the audition, Gina looked at him in awe. And even something she said is that people don't surprise me. And yeah, Ricky did. And she was also like kind of cold hearted at the beginning, standoffish, and he kind of opened something in her, and he was also really insecure, and it was Gina. I don't care what anyone says, like it was Gina that brought him up more and made him feel more secure in his own place and his own abilities. And when everyone else was talking down to him at times, uh, Gina was saying, "You're amazing. You're the one that holds us together. You belong here." And it was Gina lifting him up when everyone was kind of tearing him down in season one. And then, um, and I just absolutely love so much of their relationship. And seasons 1 and 2 were okay, but season 3 and 4 are by far the best. And I absolutely love their growth because Ricky had even though there was definitely signs Ricky liked Gina, it really started showing in season 3. And like I said, season 1 and 2 was Gina yearning for Ricky, and then season 3 became Ricky yearning for Gina, because I absolutely love when that switch up happens. And then they get together at the end in season 4. You get to see the two of them together. How they start off kind of having a secret relationship, not wanting anyone to know. Of course, they end up telling everyone the truth, because they were like so fighting during this Halloween party because they were both jealous of like um whatever, and then everyone's like, what's going on here? Like, this is a little much. These are characters for the play they were doing. And then they're like, well, not really. And then they revealed they're together, which was adorable. And Ricky singing to Gina about how much he loves her, because he could never do that with Nini. He could never admit that he loved her, which is why he lost her before the show even began. And but with Gina, he had no problem admitting how he felt, which to me proves that he loves her more. I also have Jake and Devin from Chucky, the TV show. I absolutely love them. Another great couple who love each other and manage to go through everything together despite all the obstacles. And obviously, they have issues. There's issues with like Chucky and death and everything, but they always manage to love each other, and they were so adorable. I think the show is underrated, and the ship is just so amazing, and I absolutely love them. Then there's Jesper and Wyland from Shadow and Bone. I love them in the books as well as the TV show, and they are just so amazing. They're one of my favorite ships. I absolutely love them. Um, the way they they think so low of themselves, but think so highly of the other, and they will do anything for each other. Plus the flirtatiousness, and I absolutely love their first kiss. And both, but we're talking about the TV show. In the TV show, it was so cute because Wyland thought Jesper of like a playboy because he kind of was, but then he was like, I never cared to basically like have an actual relationship until I got to know you. And then Jesper was like, "Could you say something? Because I'm not really good at this, and I'm just gonna keep talking." And then Milo rushes over because it was such a sweet scene. And then because they end up going through some trouble, but they all make it work. And then uh, Jesper tells him how he doesn't want to hide anything anymore, hide himself anymore. And then the two of them kiss, and it was just so sweet. Then there's Percy and Annabeth from the Percy Jackson TV show. We only have 2 seasons of it so far. Season 3 is coming out later this year, thankfully, and I'm absolutely loving uh what the show is doing with their relationship so far, and how it's showing how much they love each other already, even though neither one of them realize it. And then there's Piper and Leo from Charm. They have always been one of my favorite ships, and will always be one of my favorite ships. They have such a, I definitely want to do a relationship timeline video of them, but it's gonna take a while just because it's such an ambitious thing. Because a lot of the other ships I've done, there has been more on the little side. They had like maybe a few seasons together, or they were a side ship. So even if they had more seasons, they still didn't have a whole lot of scenes. But nope, this show has 8 seasons, and they are a huge factor in a lot of it. So yeah, but I will get there eventually. Absolutely love the relationship. How much they love each other. Will do anything for each other. They defy little gods, if you want to call the elders gods, to be together, and they would do anything to be together. They risk so much for each other and for their family. And yeah, they do break up at one point, but they find their way back to each other again, and because they always were going to, because they will always love each other. And then I have Tara and Willow from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, also one of my first real ships, and I will always love them. Um, I do think Tara low-key deserves better than Willow sometimes, especially in season 6. But I still do love it. Them. I love how Willow was the person that made Tara open up because of how shy she was at the beginning, and I love how um Tara Tara really helped enhance Willow's power, and I just love their dynamic and how they were living together, and they really became domestic, and I really love that because I feel like sometimes you don't always see ships being truly just domestic. I mean, um, and yeah, I love them. Caroline and Stefan from Vampire Diaries. This is a controversial ship, but I absolutely love them, and I always will. The way they have this slow burn friends to lovers that I am a sucker for anyone who's aware of that. Um, and it was obvious from the get go that that there was always something between them, at least from season 2 onward. Even the creators said that they saw potential with them in season 2, episode 2, with the bathroom scene, and they said that they have been slowly putting them together ever since. So it was not rushed or came out of nowhere. It was definitely a slow burn since season 2, and their feelings for each other didn't even start really showing until season 6. I mean, there were definitely hints in coming forward, especially seasons 5 and 6 is when you really start seeing it. But they came from not knowing each other in season 1 to becoming friends in season 2 to becoming best friends by season 4 to becoming something more in season 6, and then husband and wife in season 8. And I could go on and on about why I believe Stefan loved Caroline more than Elena, because there's always like, oh, he'll never love Caroline more than Elena. First of all, when he got marked and he knew he was going to have to leave because she was never going to stop chasing him now that he's marked, um, he saw flashbacks and everything he was going to miss, and it was mostly Caroline. And then when he died and he sees Elena in like the in between because she's like in limbo sort of, and he's about to cross over, he could have said anything to her. But what he says is, "Tell Caroline I hurt her, and I will love her forever too." And everyone claims that he loves Elena more, that he would leave Caroline for Elena if she wanted him. At this point, no, she wouldn't. Um, he would not leave his wife for Elena, and he even saw her, and he could have literally said anything to her. Elena didn't have he tell Caroline anything. He could have said whatever he wanted in this moment. Caroline never had to know, but no, he said, tell my wife I love her and I will love her forever too. And I think that's beautiful. And I absolutely love their relationship. Um, Lorraine and Ed from the Conjuring franchise. Now I know these are technically based off real people, but the real people from what we know suck. But them in the movies, oh my gosh, they're so adorable. The way they love each other, they will sacrifice everything for each other. They will do anything for each other. And you gotta see a little bit of how they, about their past too, and how much they just love each other. And they're just so, it's a beautiful love story to watch. Even though obviously this isn't a love story, there's a lot of, horror. But you gotta see how much they love each other within that as well. Then there's Elena and Sid from One Day at a Time, um, an underrated show with an underrated ship, but I absolutely love their dynamic. They're such nerds and activists. They fight for what they believe in, but they're also very always nerding out, honestly. And I absolutely love them. And then I did, let's see, Zoe and Rasha from Degrassi Next Class. Now, I've never been a Degrassi fan, but I do love Degrassi Next Class, and I love Zoe and Rasha. They have had a connection from the moment they met, and I love it because Zoe finally was able to come out and tell people who she was, um and then she meets Rasha, and I think that's exactly what she needed. I think that's what they both needed, and somebody to just love them, even especially since she has already been through so much and was gonna go through more with her homophobic mom finding out and everything that puts her through. But they're able to get through every obstacle together, and I love when Zoe goes to Rasha's performance with a with flowers, and it was so sweet. Um, I also love how they became prom queens during the prom, and yeah. Then there's Maddie and Diego from Every Which Way. I already did a relationship timeline video of them because I absolutely love them. This is one of the best Nickelodeon shows. It's so underrated. But I absolutely love Maddie and Diego. They have such an amazing relationship. They don't have that much going on in season 1, to be honest, but in season 2, Diego falls for her hard, and then he's like always yearning for her, always making time to be with her friends, even though they don't like her and don't like him. And he would do anything for her, and yeah, there's so many scenes I could talk about why I love them. One thing I can think of is when season 2 finale, and he's using a portal to so she can go into limbo and save the council, and she and then but they were warned to be careful because if the portal closes and Maddie's stuck in there, she could be gone forever, and he's using too much power that he ends up kind of collapsing and the portal closes, and he fights like hell to reopen that portal to get Maddie out, and he does, and then they kiss, and it's so beautiful. And you're really gonna see because Maddie can be a lot, but Diego really calms her down and mellows her out a bit, and which is definitely what she needed. And it's just watching their dynamic is just so cute. Like he would do anything for her, and she actually becomes a better person because of him. And it's so sweet because one time, she orders him to get her a smoothie, and then he just kind of looks at her and she's like, "Please," and he's like, "Okay." And then her mom gets so offended because her mom wants her to be this horrible person apparently, and he's like, "You just said please, how dare you? Like, how dare she have manners?" And then there's this one thing where they're trying to figure out how to save the council, and her mom was trying to be like this heroine and whatever, like trying to find the best outfit for when she saves the council. And Maddie's like, "Who cares about fashion? The realm is in stake." And then everyone just gasped, like, "Oh my gosh, who are you right now?" And then Diego's like, "What's got into you? I kind of like it." And then her mom is, who's very much against their relationship because witches and Kanais are enemies, and she's a witch and he's a Kanai. She's like, "This is you. You are a bad influence." And it's just hilarious because it's like these are good changes, but okay, whatever. There's also Quinn and Logan from Zoe 101, another great Nickelodeon show. And I absolutely love their relationship. They seemingly came out of nowhere, honestly, for this one they did kind of. But I think there were actual small hints that showed that there was something. But their kiss like shocked the world at the time of the show, I swear. But their relationship was so cute. Like I like I said before, I love a good opposites attract, and they definitely are that. Like she's the nerdy, smart science geek, and he's the cool, popular boy. And the only I absolutely love when they tell like in the final episode where they tell the school that they're in love and they go to each other and they kiss. My only issue is that we got to see a bunch of strangers react to Quinn and Logan being a couple, but we never actually got to see their friends who know them finding out because so much is going on and they wanted to give enough screen time to all the main characters, so they all had their own adventures going on in this episode. And so they none of them were in the dance at the time of them telling the world that they love each other, and that was my only grievance with that. But other than that, I absolutely love them. I love their relationship and their dynamic, and they're just so beautiful. Um, Mia and Brian from Fast and Furious is another one. I absolutely love their relationship. And one of my favorite scenes is when they're having dinner in the first movie, and she's like, "My brother attracts everyone, including you," and then he's like, "No, the only thing that attracted me was you. Just being friends with your brother is a bonus." And her look, like she's never heard that in her life. Like all her friends are only because they're her brother's friends, and like when they kiss in the fourth movie, that's a great scene, and when was it the seventh movie? I think it might have been when she they're on the phone with each other. It was either the sixth or seventh. I want to say seventh. And he's like, the best decision I ever made was walking into that restaurant and ordering that first tuna salad or tuna sandwich, and she laughed. She was like, it was such a bad sandwich, and he was like, I know, I had a lot of them, all to just be close to her, and I love it, and I just love their relationship. And then I have April and Jackson from Grey's Anatomy. There's several Grey's Anatomy ships, and I don't know how many I should add to this list because it's gonna be a very long list. I feel like, but April and Jackson are definitely my favorite. I do want to give shout outs to Meredith and Derek and Callie in Arizona because and Mark and Lexi and Joe and Alex. I love all those ships, but April and Jackson are my favorite. Like, once again, there's another friends to lovers scenario. Oh, there's a pattern, I swear. And I love when Jackson stands up at April's wedding saying that I love you and I think you love me too. Such a great scene, and watching them yearn for each other and fall for each other. Jackson actually fell for her for so long, but April's problem was that she, because of her family, which you see when you meet her siblings, they made her feel like this ugly duckling, basically. And um, she couldn't believe that someone like Jackson, someone as good looking as Jackson, could ever actually like her. So she didn't realize that he had real feelings for her when they first started hooking up. And but yeah, but I absolutely love their dynamic, watching their friendship grow into something more, and the fact that they're back together and happier than ever raising their daughter right now is amazing. Um, and then I have Betty and Jughead from Riverdale. I also want to give out Cheryl and Tony because I do love them too. Betty and Jughead are my favorite though. I absolutely love them. Betty and Jughead are amazing. I absolutely love their dynamic. They start off like getting close, and yeah, they end up having obstacles. They break up a few times, and we're not even going to talk about everything that happens in the later seasons because the later seasons suck. I like up to season 4. I know people say the first season's the best. I don't even agree with that. I'm sorry, first season's not the best. My favorite season is actually season 3, and my two favorite episodes are the season 3 finale and the locked room episode, which is also one of the last solid episodes of Riverdale. Um, but I just love their relationship. Love how supportive they are of each other, how they are this like there's like this whole thing where it's like four of them, the two of them, Archie and Veronica. But if you think about it, Archie, Betty and Jughead are the ones who's at the heart of every season. Not just their relationship, but their characters, everything their characters go through, as well as the fact that they're the ones at, in the middle of the main mystery of every season. Archie and Veronica, in my opinion, are always doing their own side thing until near the end, and then they help out with the main mystery. Except for maybe season 1, they were all working together in that one. But like season 2, Betty and Jughead were the ones working on the whole Black Hood thing. Season 3, Betty and Jughead were the ones working on the game that was happening. Season 4, Betty and Jughead were the ones trying to figure out the tapes. It was always Betty and Jughead, and they're the best characters, and they're my favorite ships. So maybe I'm biased, but maybe not. But I absolutely love their relationship, and they're definitely the best part of Riverdale half the time. And then there's Mary and Francis from Rain. I don't see people talk about Rain anymore, which makes me sad. I love Rain. I actually started rewatching it, but I didn't get very far. I want to continue rewatching it because it's been a while since I've seen it. I only rewatched the first couple episodes, I think. But I absolutely love the relationship. Yeah, it started off arranged marriage, and he didn't really much want it. But I love like how he tells her to go marry Tomas because he wanted her to be able to save her country, even though it hurts. And then he kisses her, and how he tries everything to get her away from Tomas when he realizes Tomas is a horrible person, and how much he fought to get his father to help Scotland so that he could help Mary, which is just so beautiful. And yeah, they end up having turmoil. There's a lot that hell goes after everything that happens to Mary in season 2, but then they find their way back to each other like I always do. And then of course he dies, but I absolutely love in the last episode when she dies and she's reunited with him in the afterlife. It's so beautiful. And then you see the two of them running around in the woods or in the castle together with all the flashbacks. Like I said, I'm a sucker for flashbacks. Then there's Michaela and Zeke from Manifest, another great one that is so underrated. And there's always those ship wars, Michaela and Zeke or Michaela and Jared. Michaela and Zeke all the way. She hesitated so much to marry Jared, but she said yes to Zeke in 2 seconds. That's all I needed to know. But I absolutely loved their relationship. They were kind of faded and they fell for each other pretty fast and they fought to be together. And then they were reunited in the end after they came back from the plane crash. Then there's Sam and Jay from Ghost. And I absolutely love the relationship. They're just so supportive. The way Jay speaks so highly of Sam and the way they love each other so wholeheartedly. Obviously, it's a comedy, and obviously, the ghosts are the main point of the show, and Sam's relationship with the ghosts. But Sam and Jay are kind of a back burner sometimes. But I absolutely love their relationship, their growth, and the way they are with each other, how much they love each other, and would do anything for one another. My nose is itchy, and I don't know why. Um, so I have a few for the Arrowverse. So I have Sarah and Ava, another one who's I love their growth. They go from first of all not liking each other at all because they're complete opposites to falling in love. And Sarah thought she was a monster because of everything that happened in her past. Ava finds out she's a clone and thinks she's unworthy of love, but they love each other despite it all, and they fight to be together. Oliver and Felicity, I think this can be a bit controversial, but I do not like Oliver and Laurel. I love Oliver and Felicity. I think she brings out something in him. She brings out a lighter side to him. She makes him smile, and which is something he needs because he doesn't get that very often. And Felicity gives him that, and their relationships throughout. So like watching their growth too. Is so adorable, and once again, it's the whole like switching of the dynamics. Like you see Felicity be so jealous of Oliver and Sarah, but then it switches, and when Felicity is with Ray, you see Oliver's jealousy. But then when they finally get together, that was such a sweet moment. And the proposal, one of my favorite scenes, and I love their relationship. And then Alex and Kelly from Supergirl, also so underrated. Um, Kelly, I think, really was the one for Alex, and she really gave Alex what she needed. And watching their relationship grow and watching them become mothers and wives was so beautiful, and I absolutely love their relationship. Then we have TK and Carlos from 911 Lone Star. I was actually just rewatching some episodes of this, and I absolutely love their relationship. Um, and I think the show shouldn't have got canceled. I still haven't actually watched the last season. I've been meaning to. I know I'm behind on some shows, but I'm behind on 911 as well. Which, speaking of 911, I also have Maddie and Chimney on this list because I absolutely love their relationship. The way Chimney was willing to wait for Maddie to be ready after a horrible, abusive past relationship. And um, when she comes here and says that she's ready and it's so sweet. And yeah, they go through turmoil. They do break up for a while, but then they find their way back to each other and they have a daughter, they get married, and finally our Maddie is so happy, which she hasn't really had because of her past relationship. Then there's Belle and Rumple from Once Upon a Time, which is a bit controversial because I sometimes love them, and then I'm sometimes like Belle deserves better. Let's be real. And then there's Emma and Neil from Once Upon a Time as well. This one I know is underrated and controversial because everyone loves Emma and Hook. I do not. I'm not the biggest fan of Hook. I think he's overrated. I think Emma and Hook as a ship is overrated. But I love Emma and Neil. Emma loved. I do believe wholeheartedly that Emma never would have chosen Hook over Neil, and I'm pretty sure that's why they killed Neil off because they wanted Emma with Hook. I would die on that hill, but I just loved Emma and Neil's relationship. I think he brought a side to her that Hook never did, and he and they both had such troubled past, but they were able to let each other in. Then I also have Last Ship from Once Upon a Time, Alice and Robin. One of my favorite, maybe even my favorite at this point, Ship from Once Upon a Time, and one of the only good things from the last season, which I wish we got more of them because they were just so adorable watching their relationship, and I think they were the best parts of the last season. And sometimes when I watch the show, the only parts of the last season I watch is what has to do with the two of them. Then I have Mel and Ben from Descendants. Obviously, they are such a great ship. I absolutely love them. Um, I love watching their growth, and I love how Ben was the only one that believed in the VKs. He has such a good heart, and they had a connection from the moment they met. And anyone who has read the Out of Lost books knows in the first Out of Lost book, which takes place before the first movie, they were actually having dreams of each other. It's like they were fated, and it's so adorable. And and yeah, they go through problems. Yeah, season 2, there's a lot of angst and tension, and they break up. But in the end, she finally tells him she loves him, and she saves him with true love's kiss. And in the third movie, they're like this unit working together, king and queen, and they get engaged. Such a beautiful scene, and it's beautiful. Then there's Zed and Addison from Zombies, another amazing ship. They have this forbidden love trope, just like Mel and Ben, because he's a zombie, she's a human. They're not allowed to be together. Um, and first of all, I love Addison's growth throughout the movies, but she fought for Zed, and from the moment she meets him, she knew that there wasn't anything evil about him, despite everything she's been told, and she fights just not just for Zed, but for the zombies. Period. And um, and then once again they go through some trouble in season 2, movie 2, but then in movie 3 they are together, and they are a unit, excited to go to college together, and it's so adorable. And then in the fourth movie, I absolutely love it, and you think he's gonna die, and she's just with him, and it's so adorable, and I love their relationship. Alex and Michael from Roswell, New Mexico is another one. When you meet them in the very beginning, they've already knew each other, and they dated in high school, and now it's 10 years later, and this is the first time you see them together. They've seen each other since then, and so there's a lot of angst from the very beginning, but there's also this whole like they can't stay away from each other thing. Like I loved at the reunion when they kiss, and um or the I never looked away thing. And then when Would You Come Home is such a great song, and it's such a great scene, and the way that Michael stares at him during that moment is just so adorable. And then when they finally get together in season 3, I love that scene too. There's just so many scenes with him, and I love Michael fighting to get Alex back in season 4. And I love the relationship so much. An underrated ship, an underrated show. I also have Alec and Magnus from Shadowhunters, another great ship. I love how opposite they are. Alec is kind of stoic and serious, but Magnus is very not. And Alec was always kind of hard on himself and didn't believe he deserved love. And then Magnus brought that out, and then Magnus thought he was a monster, and then Alec kind of showed him that he wasn't. And they gave each other something that the other was missing, and it was just such a beautiful dynamic. And I love when they get married, or the proposal is such a beautiful moment. And then I have JJ and Will from Criminal Minds. Now I think this is underrated, but I love JJ and Will, and I don't think they get the love they deserve. They deserve to be talked about more. I absolutely love their relationship, and I haven't actually watched Evolution yet. I know that Will dies, and that just makes me so sad. I don't want Will to die. And now I kind of not want to watch Evolution because I don't want Will to die. I love their relationship, like the way he is just so supportive of her, and the way I love them. I also have Maddie and Wally from School Spirits and Charlie and Yuri from School Spirits. I absolutely love their relationships, and I know we're still on the air. We're on season 3, and but I just absolutely love both these relationships and where they're going. I know the Maddie and Wally one's probably going to end tragically because Maddie's alive and Wally's dead, and now they can't even touch anymore because Wally's no longer in the afterlife, or Maddie's no longer in the afterlife. Uh, so yeah. But Charlie and Yuri's cute, and I really hope that they can make it work. They seem to be going strong at the moment. Yeah, they had issues earlier, but they seem to be going strong now where we're at. So happy about that. I also have Julie and Luke and Alex and Willie from Julie and the Phantoms, both great ships. Um, and we deserved a second season because I wanted to see what happened with both these ships. I wanted to see Julie and Luke admit that they have feelings. I want to see what happened with Alex and Willie. Then I have Claire and Charlie from Lost, an underrated ship because I feel like they aren't talked about enough, but they are by far my favorite ship from the show. They absolutely love their relationship. How there's this one scene where Claire's like, everyone's just looking at me all. Or everyone's afraid of me because I'm just like a ticking time bomb of responsibility. And he's like, I'm not afraid of you. And he's like, gets close to her and he's so worried about her all the time. Like, or the whole peanut butter thing was so adorable. Or how she wrote in her diary, like, in a scary place like this, Charlie makes me feel safe. Or when he knows he's gonna die and he writes down his 5 greatest hits because he's a musician and it's basically his 5 greatest moments in life. And he writes, his number one greatest moment is the day I met you, talking about Claire because he wanted the note to get to Claire. And it's just such a beautiful moment. And I also love their reunion when in the end when they have all those flashbacks and they remember each other, and it's just so beautiful. I absolutely love their relationship. I also have Ricky and Zane from H2O Just Add Water. The show ruined them in the last season, unfortunately, but I absolutely loved the relationship up till then, and watching them go from hating each other to falling in love was so beautiful to witness. And how Zane changed everything for her. He changed everything his father taught him for her, and thanks to her, his father he ended up risking everything and basically walking out on his father for her after finding out she was a mermaid. And then he finds out that she's still a mermaid and ends up helping her every chance he gets to keep her secret. Serena and David from Mako Mermaids. So this is an underrated one, but I love them so much. Um, Serena's just such a sweetheart, and David is such a sweetheart as well. And they had a connection from the moment they first met. And one of my favorite episodes was the one where she was trying to sing to the audition to the and he what he really wanted was for her to win and be able so that he could sing with her because he already knew that she had an amazing voice. And I just thought that was adorable. Like he just wanted to spend time with her, and I also love his reaction to finding out she's a mermaid. I wish he found out sooner though, just because I would have liked to see more, like with Ricky and Zane, him helping keeping her secret. But they do that like right at the end of the last episode. The two of them were on because I don't think either. I know Serena's not in the last season, but I don't think David is either. It's been a while since I've watched it because I don't like the last season. But then I have Corinne and David. Not David. um, bleh. Corinne and Tim from Soap. Another great one. I absolutely love their relationship. Uh, of course, they get ruined as well, unfortunately, because that seems to be a pattern sometimes in shows. They ruin the ships, but uh, Corinne and Tim had such a great relationship because they know each other since high school. I'm pretty sure they dated in high school. And then obviously they haven't dated in years. Tim is a priest now, so he can't date. But Corinne is still madly in love with him. She kind of sleeps around because she can't have the one guy she wants, and he fights for his feelings so hard he can't forget about her to the point where he goes into this exclusion, like this in like the middle of nowhere, just to forget about her, and then he still can't. And um and then when he comes back and wants to see her, he tells her that he's leaving the priesthood to be with her. And that was such a funny scene because she said he was like, "You really think I'm leaving the priesthood just to date? I want to marry you." And she's like, "Marry? Really?" And it was just such a cute scene. Of course, and then it gets ruined, and the show does go a little bit downhill after season 2, anyways. Um, uh, and then the two of them, the show ends up and they ruin them because they ruined the show. Period. But I also have Danny and Elaine from Soap. They did obviously they did not start off good at all. But they end up being forced to marry each other, and you find out why Elaine was horrible at the beginning, and oh my gosh, her when she tells that story to Danny about why she decided to close her heart off and why it was just easier for her to be cold and ruthless. That scene breaks my heart every time. The whole point is that her um mother was dead, her sister ends up dying, and then her father at her sister's funeral said, "Why couldn't it be you?" And so as she's telling Danny the story, she's like, "So my mother was dead, my sister was dead, my father wished I was dead, so I figured why care about anyone but myself." And it just breaks my heart every time. And she's like, "I do love you, Danny, and I hope one day you can love me." And these two of them do end up falling in love. He falls in love with her despite everything. They end up having a beautiful marriage that's very short lived because then she gets kidnapped and then she gets shot. But then anyone who's seen a Red Six of Crows, this always makes me think of it because Matthias gets shot, but then he ends up he keeps walking until he can find until he can find Nina because he needed to see her because he knew he was gonna die, but he had to see her. Same thing happens. Elaine gets shot, but she keeps running to find Danny because she had to see him, and then she ends up dying in his arms. It always makes me cry. And then I have Blair and Casey for Facts of Life. Um, I just thought they were cute. I thought they had this opposite attracts thing. She was like, prissy, rich girl. He was like poor, um, kind of gangster looking sometimes, leather jacket sort of style. And they did not like each other when they first met, but of course they fell in love, and they were not endgame unfortunately, but I do really like them. And then I have Darlene and David from Roseanne. I did love them, even though the Connors ruined them and ruined David, which makes me so mad because the person they created in the Connors was not the David that I fell in love with in the show. But I digress. But they also had a great relation. I mean, they don't get me wrong, they had their toxicity moments, mostly on Darlene's part, even though Darlene's my favorite character. But I love when they find out she's pregnant and when she asks him to marry her and then their wedding, and they definitely had great moments, and they started off as friends, but then they started really liking each other and started really dating. But yeah. But that is all on this list. So thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe and comment if you ship any of these, if you know any of these, or if there's any that you love that I did not add. And I'll chat with you guys below in the comments. Until next time.